Hello again, guys. Welcome on the second part on spatial planning. Let's go into see like how these actual planes come together and what do we use to actually build stuff out. And here we see how do we actually use the plane of the action. Okay, so this is basically a clear example here that you actually see. So we got different types of planes and different types of things going on inside of them. And of course, like how to use splines to create flow. And as you can see, for example, like I didn't drew the spline, but this is basically like where you see the arrows here coming together. This is part of the spline. And this is basically how a character kind of follows this line here. So it goes here, it goes there, and then kind of like tries to, there's probably a running sequence here, tries to jump up here, grab the edge, and then actually sit there. So this is actually pretty cool because it can actually create these sequential type of things where you guys can actually think how do you actually put things sequentially in perspective, and how do you actually plan this across the board. And not only this, but even this type of thing here can actually be used in 3D. So if you have a 3D software, you can easily build this out, putting the character in different points, even having different types of camera angles, and actually build an entire sequential thing as a whole by using just the 3D software. And of course, like if you notice on this other end where we see like there's a main type of like plane here, kind of like coming together here, and this person here that is sitting is slightly elevated than the rest. And of course, you see like I'm using perspective on this entire scenery here, so I can showcase like, okay, these characters are existing in the space, and of course they will be different looking, and of course their height is going to be different because of the perspective and how these things are going to be arranged. And again, this can actually be a conversation or an action. There's something that probably can happen in the middle here. They might have a debate or like a more profound thing going on. But again, this is just for you to plan things out and put things in motion. If you check down below here, we'll see like how a character from here, it's like based on the same vine with this one. So how it actually goes here from to there, where I have my arrow, and then kind of falls down this type of like curved plane here and actually stops there. Now, again, this type of stuff, again, is very useful because you can plan the sequential type of dynamics between what's happening with your character in the scene. Another example here is where I have like a circular plane here that I'm just putting together. And of course, here we can have like people doing different things. And this is very useful to actually create like either a local action of sorts or building crowds as well. So you'll see that if you're able to understand these things with planes, you'll be able to create trajectories in space to actually build how the crowds are moving from location A to location B. And those things can be very, very useful. And this other example here, we have, for example, we have this plane here, and we have this guy kind of sitting from top view. And of course, we'll see these two characters kind of discussing these other two characters here that have parked a car. Again, this is very useful and very easy to do, but it actually plans out a strategy to actually build up a scene. Again, the importance of this entire course will be mainly to help you guys to focus on just the planning side of things and actually build things that are interesting from the beginning, so you don't have to struggle with the process later on. On these other two examples here, because these are more developed examples, this is something that I do myself where, okay, like if I have to plan this scene out, I'll have like a structure here. So imagine like you have like theatrics and scenes. It's kind of the same thing. I have this plane that's kind of like converging, it's coming towards the camera and stuff like that. So there's definitely an angle here. And we have this character that it might follow up this trajectory. These two characters are not at par with those characters, so we create differentiation. Maybe these guys are on the same team, and maybe this guy's gonna run to this guy, grab a weapon, kind of start shooting these guys here, and then this guy tries to shoot the guy from this guy that is running, and this guy might be trying to shoot the guy that is trying to shoot these guys, but this guy here, because he has the perfect distance, grabs the other gun and shoots the guy from the tower here on the top. So this type of stuff is basically, you can plan actions, you can plan scenery, and it can actually help you a lot in doing sequential stuff. In this other example here, you'll also see like, okay, there's like this trajectory that, comes from here, goes, and everything kind of goes around this area. So it's either there might be an explosion going on here, there's like these rocks are going to fall, that's why they exist there. And then you have this character here kind of getting panicked, you know, kind of like maybe jumping on the ground, and then there's some guy hopping from this other car starting to shoot. All these things that I'm explaining basically can be based on this simple thing. And of course, here's what the main principle is here is basically you work with a lot less to actually think about what comes next. And then again, this is a part where like planning your process ahead, it can actually be very beneficial and can help you to understand like how we can actually make things better. So I hope you guys got some cool stuff out of this part with discussing like this second theory part on planes. And what we're going to do next is actually do a demo where we put these things in action and actually show you guys like how you actually build a little scene with these planes. So thank you, and I'll see you at the demo.